What's up, everyone? So, I wanted to talk about Azriel Clary, and as you all know, that the Feeling on Your Booty singer, he was recently convicted in the trial that was going on for a few weeks. And Azriel Clary, she was noted as being one of his longtime girlfriends for the past several years, but she finally left him in 2019. And this was after the documentary that came out and all of the allegations and the investigation started cranking up, and then she finally got up out of there. And prior to that happening, her parents, mainly her father, Azriel Clary's father, Angelo Clary, he has been on a number of different interviews. He and his wife, they were also interviewed on one of the documentaries that was on Netflix, and prior to that aired on the Lifetime channel. And he was basically saying, I want my daughter back, I'm trying to get my daughter back. And a lot of people really didn't understand how it could be that parents who knew not just about the allegations prior, where there were allegations that he was married to Aliyah when she was underage, and there were the allegations that he previously went to trial for that he was not convicted of. But again, there have been a lot of people that have seen that tape that was in question about who he was in the tape with and what age that person was. And one of the reasons why he was not convicted in that previous trial was because the family of the young lady was paid off and she never testified, and the jurors really could not come to a conclusion of how old that person really was. So was she really 14, or was she 24? Was she 34? Was she just someone that looked younger? I don't know. I never watched it myself, so I don't know what the person looked like. I just heard, in different interviews and different people talking about it, and of course in the documentary where that was discussed, and even the singer Sparkle, who she said that it was her niece, and she recognized her, and she definitely was underage. She talked about it as well. But I digress. With Azriel Clary coming to the conclusion of, this is not what I want to do with my life, this is not where I want to be, and the moves and actions that she has made since she left him, and even prior to her leaving him, there were some questionable videos that she did on social media. I think maybe it was like Snapchat, or, one of those platforms like Snapchat, where she was dressed extremely provocatively. This was actually during the time he had, I guess, gotten arrested. This was after the interviews with she and Joycelyn Savage with Gayle King. After he was arrested, she did some social media videos where she was, dressed extremely provocatively and basically showing off the body and saying she was about to go out and to the club or whatever. I don't know. But seeing those things, then of course seeing the interview that she and Joycelyn Savage did with Gayle King, where they were just tooth and nail fighting with their words, with Gayle King basically saying that we are not victims, we are here willingly, and our parents sold us out. They basically sold us, which you can't do. Your parents legally, if that really happened, do you not think that their parents would have been arrested? So that, that's not even a thing that actually really happened, but they said that's what they were told, that their parents sold them off. And it's like, okay, so your parents sold you. He's basically admitting, the Feeling on Your Booty singer is admitting that he bought you because your parents sold you. Do you not think that that's a crime to purchase? That's That's human trafficking. We'll take the sex word out of it. That's trafficking. You can't do that. You cannot sell a human being. That's not legal. Okay. So the people who say, well, they sold their kids. Some people may be saying it figuratively, but I believe a lot of people were saying it literally. And that's not something that they actually legally could have done. So that wasn't even a thing. But a lot of people said that. So you've got that, all right? And then you've got, of course, like after we saw her having an interview with Gayle King and she was lashing out and saying the different things that she said. And a lot of people just felt like Azriel, she is the one that is the fighter. She is the fire. She is the main chick. She holds him down and all of these different things. So it's like those people who really are fans of the Feeling on Your Booty singer wanted to believe that this young girl, I don't care if she is 22 years old right now, she, in my opinion, even though the law says that she is of age and she is an adult, she's just not mentally all there. And I'm not even saying that in a way of saying that she isn't smart. I'm definitely not saying that, because obviously she is, but she is extremely immature. Extremely immature. I know people that are older than her that are still extremely immature. That generation, that Gen Z generation, it's just a different generation. They may be very smart in different ways, but when it comes to life and life skills and just being mature overall, there is something that's lacking there. Okay? So the story that I read talking about this most recent update about how she's saying that she saw Joycelyn Savage, and when she really saw Joycelyn Savage and how she was, reacting to certain situations, that's really what prompted her to like say, you know what, I got to get out because I'm kind of seeing myself now. And sometimes you need that mirror in order to really see yourself. So looking at her now and looking at her back then, she may be in this interview that she did with Gayle King dressed, with her shirt buttoned all the way up to her neck and wearing a pantsuit and heels and looking like an adult. She honestly still looks like a child to me, and not just a child, but she honestly looks like a tired child. She looks like she has lived a life that she was not ready for, and she has been worn out. Okay, I look at her and I see someone that it makes me want to kind of cry for her. Her features and her face, she just really looks tired. And so when people say that she ain't no victim, Azriel ain't no victim, Azriel's not a victim, she knew exactly what she was doing, she knew what she was getting into, she was still a minor. Now, if she was 18 or 19 when she got with him when he was in his 50s, because I think he's 58 now, it's still gross, it's still disgusting. And I don't care what the people say about, oh, he's illiterate, he can't read. He's smart enough to know what he was doing. He could read enough, he could write enough. He may not be able to spell really well, but he's been, I should say, on this earth a lot longer than Azriel. And for Azriel to get with him when he was 17 years old, I'm sorry, he should have. That's just, I don't know how people who are just such fanboys, fangirls for the Feeling on Your Booty singer, why is it that you can just overlook the fact that he should have been the adult in the situation and say, this isn't something that I should be touching. I've been in these situations before. I was in a freaking trial before where I was accused of doing some things that I denied doing. So I don't want to get caught out there again. So, and I have a problem. I have a sexual addiction or whatever. So get help. He had ample opportunities to get the help. He had the money to get the help. And so for people to just say, well, she is not a victim, I really want to know why people say that. For the people who don't like her, for the people who don't like the way she moved and don't like her actions, I will be one of the first to admit, when I first saw the documentary and I saw her parents talking about this young girl, because I didn't follow his career. I was never one of those people that followed all of the things that he did in his music. I would hear certain things that were on the radio, but I was never buying his music. I was never like a huge fan of his stuff. So I was indifferent to it. And so when I heard, or not just heard, when I watched the documentary and saw that there was, one of the people that he was still with was this young girl, and they were showing the videos of her singing and all those things, I was so shocked. And I was like, what is this? How could this happen? How could this young girl get with this dude? Like, what in the world happened? And, they show the clips of her at his concert in the front row, or, whatever section they were in. And, I heard about how he threw some black panties to her. So, oh my God, it's so crazy. Because I guess that was the Black Panties tour. It's so ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm trying my hardest not to laugh at this, but again, wasn't a fan of his, didn't follow his career, wasn't into all of his music. Some of his stuff was a bop when it was playing on the radio and, whatever. And of course, a lot of people utilized him to write for them. So yeah, there are a lot of different artists that have benefited from his skills in writing and producing and things. So yeah, that has happened. But when it comes to his own stuff, the majority of the stuff that he was speaking about was of a sexual and sometimes explicit nature. So why would a parent take their young daughter to one of those concerts? I can't give the answer to that because I would never do that. So yeah, I can judge her parents in that situation. Like, why would you take your child to that concert? But then who would think they take their daughter to an R. Kelly concert and their daughter would wind up being one of R. Kelly's concubines? Like, seriously, who would really think that would happen? And so when people say that, well, she lied about her age or whatever, I don't care if she says she was 18 years old. It's not okay to lie. I'm not saying that, but why would he put himself in this predicament where he was always like, all you got to do is be 18. So as long as you're legal, as long as you just scrape by that, over that threshold, then it's all good. She was very young and extremely immature. So I can't say that he is a victim in that situation. I'm not going to say that she is 100% innocent, but you don't have to be 100% innocent to be a victim. Because let's say this, someone who is on a date with a guy, okay? Let's just put that, there. Someone's on a date with a guy and things are getting hot and heavy and, she may be allowing it to go to a certain point. And then she's like, you know what? I don't want to do this. But he just is feeling like, you know what? I don't care. We already got this far. I need to finish off. And so he winds up doing the do to her, and she did not want it. She wasn't innocent in the situation by allowing it to get to a certain point. But once she said no, she became a victim. Now, people may say, well, that doesn't have anything to do with Azriel because she said yes. But she was not legally able to make those decisions, and that is why there are laws against that, and they're called statutory laws, where it's saying, well, yes, she may have said that it was okay, but legally, because of her age, we deem her unqualified to make that decision because we are just making this law that says you have to be at this age or over in order to make that decision legally. So legally she was not able to make that decision. So right there qualified her to be a victim, whether she continued to stay in the situation or not. From that very moment, just that one time, she made that decision at that age where she was not meeting that legal threshold of making that decision. She legally wasn't able to do that. So people cannot overlook that. Even if people say, well, she lied about her age. I'm sorry. I don't believe that she lied about her age to him. Do I know that for sure? Because was I there? Absolutely not. But she said she didn't lie to him about her age. She lied to the police officer about her age, but she did not lie to him about her age. So yeah, like I said, you can be somebody that's not completely innocent, but still be a victim. So being someone who was her age and just getting mesmerized by the lifestyle and all of that stuff, and then just finding yourself being stuck there, she was pretty much in a sex cult at that point. I believe that's how, because I believe most cults are either about, they're all about power and control. All of them. All cults are about power and control, but some of them, they use, different tactics in what their cult is surrounding. So there are different cults that are surrounded about, around sex. And there are, some that are just about sacrificing your entire life for the sake of some deity, whether it be God or some made up figure that cult leader has made up. But yeah. And so, in that sense, she, being young, being with someone who was much older, much more experienced in that physical aspect, and I don't know if he was her first, encounter sexually or not, and I don't really care to know. But can you imagine being a young person like she was and having someone of his age and of his stature and experience being her first encounter? I can't even believe that would have been something that was pleasurable, because most young women, your first experience, it really is not. It really isn't. It takes a while to get there. I'm just being honest. And having someone like him who was so sadistic, I just don't know how people can't say that she wasn't a victim at all. Now, again, like I said, there were some actions that she was taking on social media that I didn't really care for, posing out, being scantily clad, making, I don't know, like making videos where she was slashing his coat and some other things that she did. I didn't really watch all of the things that she did when she made her presence known on social media, but again, I didn't follow it too tough, but I just didn't really feel that it was appropriate, and I just kind of was hoping that she would have just kind of kept herself off of that space. But you can't tell somebody how to operate their life in that aspect, especially when you have been victimized in some way. I don't know what is the 100% appropriate way for a victim to behave. You don't see most victims of, sexual crimes behaving in the way that she has behaved. Absolutely. But they're not all the same. They're not all a monolith. Everyone is an individual, and they choose to make their own decisions. But I do believe she's paid a heavy price for it, and I feel that she is regretting some of the moves that she's made once she got out of the compound, out of the concubine situation, and gained her freedom again. And people were saying, well, she could have left anytime she wanted to, and she came and went as she chose and pleased to do. But I do believe that there was a hold there. Definitely spiritually. Strongholds are real, people. Strongholds are extremely real. Those soul ties are so deep. And for her to have been as young as she was to hook up with this person and be with him for all of these years, pretty much to the point where she cut off her family, her parents, for years, wasn't having regular communication with them. Like, he and the women, the other girls and women that were surrounding them, that were there, they were pretty much her life at that point. So she went from having, from birth to the age of 17, being with her family, who, she didn't come from a broken home. Not saying she came from a perfect home, but she didn't come from a single mother or, any type of situation like that. So to go from that to being with this one man who was treating her and the other girls like, you are all my concubines, pretty much. That's not normal. It's not healthy. And I do believe that in a lot of those instances, she definitely qualifies to be a victim. And she also says she suffered some physical repercussions, I'll just put it like that, from being with this person. And so I can't say that I don't feel sorry for her. There are a lot of people that are just really kind of cold and callous when it comes to her, and they're just like, she ain't no victim. Azriel ain't no victim. And it's just so sad. I don't know. I don't know how she handles it, but looking at her, seeing her in this interview, I can't say that she's handling it exceptionally well, but I pray that she can get the help. She said she's getting the counseling, and I pray she can really get the help that she needs. And I don't believe that it happens overnight. It's going to be some years. It's going to take years of deprogramming, years of healing, years of affirming, just a lot of rebuilding to build herself, not to what she used to be, but to become the woman that she truly deserves, and I would say desires to be, because I do believe she desires to be better because she did leave. Some people say, well, she just left because the money was starting to dry up and they were getting evicted out of the Trump Towers. That could be too, but sometimes God will allow situations to happen in someone's life to shake them and wake them up. And I believe that that was her wake-up call, whether it had to come by means of finances getting cut off and things drying up and getting evicted and you not having anywhere to go. I mean, it couldn't have been that bad, because where's Joycelyn Savage? She still has not went back to her family. She's staying somewhere. We don't know where. I haven't heard anything about her. But she said that everything that we were living in had become very normal. I had to break out of that. I had to realize that this is actually abnormal. It did, because it was not only me, it was other women who were older than me. When I met him at 17, he had 4 other women. So these women all are normalizing his actions, and you have assistants normalizing his actions. You have workers and security and everyone else that normalizes it. So me being very young at that time, I just learned to normalize it. So again, I do believe that she is a victim. Like her or not, she, may have made some moves and done some things and said some things and in different situations that was not okay with me. But hey, it's actions and moves that she took, because again, she's not that mature, and she went into a very controlling, I don't even like to say adult situation, because I'm an adult. I've been an adult for many years now, and I can't see myself being in a situation like that and say, oh, well, this is grown folk stuff. It's not normal. I don't care how people try to normalize someone being a man being with several women at one time and thinking that it's okay. It's not. Some people may learn to accept it and just live that way because they don't feel that they have any other choices or any other options. But I'm sorry, it's just not for me, being an adult or a child. No, it's not okay. So I want to say that, like her or not, I do believe that Azriel is a victim, but I don't know why so many people don't believe that she is. But I do believe that most of the people who don't believe she is a victim are just going by the fact that she stayed when things were good, and then once he was locked away and the money was drying up, that's why she left. If you're just looking at it from that lens, then yeah, you may just see her as an opportunist. But I don't believe that she's just an opportunist. I believe that the girl was young. She made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, her parents made a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of mistakes that were made on all of their ends, all of them. But the feeling on your booty singer knew exactly what he was doing, and I just cannot feel sorry for him. I have to, if I'm going to have sympathy for anyone, if I had to choose from Azriel and the feeling on your booty singer, I would have to give my sympathy to Azriel. I'm sorry. That's just my thoughts about it. And So you let me know your thoughts, and until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest.